Hi everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. It's about April 15th, 2019 in Houston, Texas. Starting to get a little bit warm out, and I know if you're in the South, you feel like I do. Anyway, this episode is going to be about brewing aerated compost tea. You know, when I first started gardening, I wish someone would have made it very easy for me and teach me how to use compost tea, the benefits of compost tea, and how to get started quickly in a very non-scientific manner. So what I'm going to try to do in this video is teach you just that. So in this video, I'll put you in front of the compost bucket, the brewing bucket, and I'll tell you the three critical important elements of brewing compost tea. Now, if you live in Houston, Texas, or anywhere in the South where we get a lot of rain, you know that our plants are very susceptible to disease. And when you get that, the disease certainly could end your garden season very quick. By putting compost tea, it puts beneficial microorganisms back into the soil or back onto the plant if you're using foliar spray, and best builds immunity to these disease states and protects the plant so you can get a bountiful harvest. So let me get in front of the brew bucket where I'm brewing it, 5-gallon bucket, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing, how you can get started within 1 week. So the concept of compost tea is simple, but the actual process of making good compost tea is very scientific and can be very complex. The concept is that compost, which is full of beneficial microorganisms, is put into water, and the nutrients or food for the microorganisms is added to allow the bacteria and fungi to multiply rapidly. Then, air is sent through the water to keep the water oxygenated. This benefits the beneficial bacteria and fungi over the pathogens. After 24 hours of brewing the compost tea, you have a concentrated liquid full of billions of microorganisms, which is comprised of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes. The tea can be either sprayed onto the leaves, which is known as foliar spray, or poured into the soil for the roots. When you hear about compost tea, there's sometimes mixed results. The reason for this is that there are numerous ways to make it. But first, you must start with good compost. You must have good biology in the compost you're using, or you'll have no chance of having good compost tea. Because a lot of science goes into making a great compost, I buy the raw materials from people who know more about compost than I do. I buy from Boogie Brew, and they have bags of compost that you can buy online. I'm not paid by them to say this, I simply share what works for me. The second thing you need for great compost tea is food for the microorganisms to reproduce rapidly. Again, I buy this as well from Boogie Brew. The third thing you need is a strong oxygen source. I use a large air stone and a strong pump, as you see, that will pump large amounts of air into the liquid. If the tea is not getting enough oxygen, your brew will go anaerobic and you'll begin brewing bad organisms or pathogens, such as root-feeding nematodes. As you'll see from my tea, after 24 hours, your tea should have the large amounts of foam on top of the brew, such as you see here. This is a positive sign, and you're ready to apply your compost tea to your plants. I recommend brewing tea and applying this tea to your plants every 2 weeks to keep your plants in ideal health. So, all you need to make great compost tea is the following, as you see here. A 5-gallon bucket, a filter to remove any chlorine or harmful metal from your tap water, a strong air pump, a 4x2 air stone with 1/4-inch tubing, and a good source of compost and food source for the microorganisms. All in all, I brew it for 24 hours. I hope this video helps clarify how to make great aerated compost tea to benefit you and your garden this season. I want to thank you for watching the Executive Gardener channel. I hope this episode has made it very simple for you to get started brewing your compost tea to benefit your garden. Please share this episode with any friends you may have, and if you like this episode, please leave a comment or give me a thumbs up. Thanks, and we'll see you next time on the Executive Gardening channel.